Good morning and good news right here. We have a judge here sitting with us. It's been about 5 years we were talking since we've had you on WKNI. We used to pester you all the time and go up there and interview you back when we first started out 10 years ago. But things change and go on, and you've been a busy man.
Well, everybody's busy. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but
Yeah, it has been.
you've got the record, so I guess that's true. It doesn't seem like it's been that long.
Well, you know, we do see each other on occasion
Sure.
passing, but I've got Judge Short. Judge, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome. And boy, things have changed up there just over time, and you know, you've got a nice young lady up there now that takes Pam, right?
Pam,
And
she's my judicial assistant.
yeah, and she's good at it.
Yeah, she's very good.
And I've looked at your dockets and all that. You've been busy.
Well, you know, there's only two of us here in the county, and it's a pretty active county, both criminal case-wise and domestic case-wise and civil case-wise. And, you know, unlike other places, Birmingham, places like that have family court judges and civil
Right.
judges and criminal judges, Judge McCatherine and I in the circuit court, then Judge McGuire in the district court, we handle it all. So,
Well, the circuit and people got what's district and what's circuit. You know, the circuit covers a wider area and different crimes, different
Right.
levels of crimes. District is more of a I don't know, family court.
well, district court handles the same kind of cases we do. They handle civil cases up to a certain monetary amount, and then they handle misdemeanor criminal cases. And then our district court is also the juvenile court. Some places have a separate juvenile court.
Right.
Judge McGuire is also the juvenile judge, so he handles all that. And the circuit court, Judge McCatherine and myself, the circuit court is a court of general jurisdiction. In other words, it can hear anything. We get a lot of original filings. All felony cases come before us. Everything that comes out of the grand jury, all civil cases over $10,000 originate with us. Divorce cases, that kind of thing, workman's comp, and anything that gets appealed from district court or any of the municipal courts around come up to
Right.
the circuit court is where you have jury trials. You don't have any jury trials in district court, so those are some of the differences.
Well, you've been a very busy person. We're talking about, you know, what you cover in that area, and there's been a lot of laws change, and there's been a lot of activity in the courts, more so, I'm from the outside looking in, more so now than there has been in the past. Can you tell us what might be the contributing factor to that? Or
Well, I don't know that I agree that it's more busy than it was. I mean, it just seems like it's plenty to do every day, and it doesn't matter how hard you work. It just
there's only so many hours in a day.
So, so I really haven't seen that big of an increase. As a matter of fact, our civil docket is smaller than it used to be.
Now, there's new laws with that, though, with the civil dockets and.
Well, some, but it just for whatever reason, I don't really have an explanation for it. We just don't have as many civil cases, big file, as we used to. Part of it is this is a very conservative county, and if people can file it somewhere else, they do. Not just the judges, but the
Right.
people are very conservative when it comes to money judgments and that kind of thing. So if folks have an option, they usually go somewhere else.
We've been talking to different agencies, law enforcement, and we talked to Judge McCatherine a few months back, and there's some laws that have changed, and the focus now out there through the community has been overcrowding in the jail systems, and you know, what's the resolve to that? You know, you've got to, you know, put people in jail and sentence them because that's what the law requires you to do. And what's happening with that? I mean, you see there's 253 today in this morning?
245, I think.
245.
I heard.
In the Covenant County Jail that's only
Right.
set for 180.
Right.
And
Yeah, and I listen to that report every morning as how many's out there, and it seems like for the last several years we'd been running 180 to 200, somewhere in that range, and then all of a sudden, seems like a couple of weeks ago it jumped up to the 250 range.
Right.
And I'm not real sure what that is. Lots of times the inmate count will go up right after a grand jury.
Right.
All the indictments come out and people are arrested, and some haven't made their bond yet or hadn't had their initial appearance and so forth, and then it goes back down. But that's a high number. That's a high number. Yeah, there are some things that I send people to prison for. And I say prison, that's the county jail, and that's
Right.
where they stay until they become a state inmate. Then they get transferred to the penitentiary. If somebody gets sentenced for a misdemeanor up to a year, then they serve their time out here.
Right.
They don't go to the penitentiary. But there's a number of things that are being implemented to try to combat overcrowding. To answer your question, what do? Well, you want to pay more taxes and build more prisons? That's what you would have to do. And not just build more, but the upkeep on the ones we have, they're old.
Oh, it's
They're old.
it's awful. And the sheriff is doing the best that he can.
Sure
I
he
mean,
is, yeah.
Dennis Meeks, we've talked to him about it, and he doesn't like to see, the inmates being crowded in like that.
Right.
But he has no other options.
Right.
And like I say, so many things have changed on a state level.
Mm-hmm.
The mental health system has been cut back. Incredible, very scary to me.
Right.
Situation.
Right.
You really don't have a hand in that anymore.
No.
And these folks don't have any place to be kept because all the mental health facilities have been shut down.
Right.
And
Well, and you run into a situation where people that commit crime have mental health issues. What do? You have a duty to protect the public and punish somebody for doing wrong, but you also recognize that they've got some mental difficulties that, they range from not very much to a lot. So you have to weigh all that, but you got to watch out for people's safety as well.
it's a catch-22 for you, and it's a lot of
Right.
responsibility sitting up there on that bench.
Well, it is, and we've I don't know how much has been talked about on your air about our drug court here in town. Speaking of sentence alternatives or alternative sentencing, there's different things around the state, community corrections and that kind of things that people have tried to implement for nonviolent offenders. But we have a drug court here, and there's one in every county in the state, and there's been a big push over the last few years to try to help people get off drugs. It's against the law, and you get punished for it, but there's also a recognition that there are some people who are not violent, they're not hurting anybody except themselves, unless they get on the road and possibly injure somebody. But anyway, there's a recognition that maybe we'd be better served to try to get them help and get them off drugs because it just happens over and over. Recidivism just happens over and over. They come back, you get them arrested, you put them in jail, they serve a little time, get out, and they're right back before you. And so the hope of the drug court is to try to help those people not reoffend, number one, but also to help them have a good life and not be hung out on drugs and strung out on drugs and hooked on drugs. We have, I think it's right about 80 people right now participating in our drug court program. And it's just for nonviolent offenders, mainly first-time drug offenders, nobody trafficking or anything like that,
Right.
but people caught with possession or something of that nature is what it's primarily limited to. And what those folks do, they reach a plea bargain just like they would if they were going to go to jail. And they'll come before me after their lawyer and the district attorney, they reach a plea agreement, a drug court plea is what we call it, and they go ahead and enter a guilty plea to whatever the offense is, possession of a controlled substance. And we take the guilty plea all the way up to the point where I adjudicate them guilty and impose a sentence. And I suspend the proceedings at that point in time, and then they have to go through the drug court program. And it lasts a year, 2 years, sometimes 2.5 years. And it's pretty strenuous. They meet with the drug court people and are tested weekly sometimes, bi-weekly sometimes, depending on their level. And they progress through level 1, 2, 3 until they ultimately, hopefully, graduate. If they do graduate, then those charges are washed off the record. I never adjudicate them guilty. And if they get kicked out of the program or quit the program or whatever reason, catch a new offense, then they come back before me without any other hearing, and I just adjudicate them guilty and impose a sentence. So
Wow.
it's a pretty good program because they've got that sentence hanging over their head, not with any further hearing or anything. If they mess up, boom, it's imposed upon them. We don't have a hearing whether or not they really were guilty or anything like that. They've already pled guilty. So it's a pretty good program.
We're reading on the JDR every morning. Like you say, you hear that going on, and there's a lot of the same names coming up. There's a lot of VOPs, violation of probation.
Right.
And that would fall under that situation that they violated the drug court. They'd be picked up on violation.
Well, yeah, it's a different kind of thing, but the people that are on probation, people in drug court aren't seeing the probation officers.
All right.
They're seeing the drug court personnel. We have 3 caseworkers and a drug court prosecutor, and I'm the drug court judge. And we have drug court public defenders. So that's a totally different situation. Now, they have to do a number of things. They have to stay employed. Of course, they can't get in any trouble, but they've got to report to those drug court professionals, depending on what level they're in, once a week, twice a month, whatever. They're drug tested randomly. They have to pay. It costs $1,500 to go through the thing. So that's what they're set up to do. Now, folks, you're talking about violation of probation. They have pled guilty, and I've imposed a sentence on them, but granted them probation, a split sentence or a reverse split or something of that nature, and they're out, and Jamie Wisber and those guys are over there overseeing them. Now, they're already adjudicated guilty, and if they violate the probation, either by committing a new offense or not reporting to the probation officer, and I can do anything, as much as making them go off and serve the sentence that was imposed, down to letting them serve a weekend, or depends on the severity of the violation. If they're not reporting or didn't pay a couple of months, then we're not going to send them to prison probably the first time they do that. But if they go out and get a new offense, then yeah, they're probably go on and serve their other sentence plus whatever they're facing now.
So at least they're getting a chance to change their lives around, and they come before you, and it's not necessarily a prison sentence.
Right.
But one of the going back, and I understand what you're saying about the drug court, but violation of probation, they're out on probation, they get violated, they've broken another law, or they've been caught with drugs, or so anyway, they go back, and it's a continued almost cycle with several of the people that we read all the time. And I want to say, you see on TV, the reality TV shows and things like that, intervention. Is there any way to intervene other than with what you're providing on a court level? I mean,
well,
go
ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, we've got Crossover Ministries. We've got several great places like that around the area, but they're booked solid.
Yeah. Well, we're back to the same thing we talked about with the prison system. There's only so many beds available, only so much space available. We use Crossover in all these drug rehabilitation, but especially, I'm a firm believer that it's almost impossible to get off drugs, if not completely impossible, unless God's a part of your recovery.
Absolutely.
Or the main part of your recovery. And Crossover does a great job of implementing religion and God into their recovery. But, like you said, there's just so many people they can have over there. Now, part of what we do, when I put somebody on probation, it's not just you're out on probation. Lots of those people, your probation can be anything. I might say I'm putting you on 2 years probation, but the first year of that probation, you have to complete an inpatient rehab program. And if they don't go to Crossover or wherever they, sometimes we give them a choice. There's several of them, and they can find one that's agreeable to everybody. And if they complete that, then they're out on probation for the other year, the next year. But if they don't complete that rehab, then they never get out on regular probation. There's rehab programs within the Department of Corrections, and if I feel like somebody just won't behave and not going to go to a program that they can walk away from, like Crossover, they don't have guards there and that kind of thing, then I can send them to the Department of Corrections and order them to go through the rehab programs. They have different levels, SAP program, and different things like that within the Department of Corrections. I can do that as well, and often do that.
We talked before we came on the air about some alternatives, and in several states, I believe it's 3 now across the country, have legalized marijuana. A lot of people consider marijuana to be a non-violent, non-addictive drug. There's a lot of information coming out now from the 60s and 70s that people were misled about the drug as well. I know this is a real conservative community, and I know that the state of Alabama is conservative, but there's a lot of people in jail right now for marijuana. We hear about it. There's 1,513 plants found yesterday or day before in Definiak Springs.
Is that right?
And $3 million worth of a crop there. And when you legalize something like that, there's a profit to the taxes. There's a business out of it. There's no more costs for the eradication. And I'm just saying, these are the pluses that they have with it. Yes, people can smoke and drive. but they drink and drive as well.
And that's the problem. People
Yeah.
get killed every day. So that's a perfect example as to why you shouldn't legalize marijuana, is how many people get killed every day by drunk drivers on the road, in my opinion.
Well, should we stop drinking
You
alcohol?
should stop drinking and
Well, I
driving.
mean, should we stop alcohol? I mean,
Suit me, I don't drink at all, so that'd be fine with me.
I gave you an easy out.
Yeah. Well, hey, I can tell you for sure, alcohol has torn up a lot of families in this
yeah.
country and ruined a lot of lives. So, you know,
How
choose your
does-
poison, I guess.
I guess, you know, we're going to take a quick commercial break here in a second, but, you know, my point was on that is legalization of marijuana. Obviously, you know, you're not for it. I'm not, you know, for it. I'm just wanting to find a way to lessen the overcrowding, lessen, you know, the things we're talking about, ankle bracelets and monitoring. Coffee County does that, and it's quite successful, I might add, talking to the Sheriff Sutton over there,
Right.
and other areas, Dothan.
Yeah, we've looked into it. We've had the lady come over, and we've actually had a trial on a couple of people, so that may be coming here in the future. We've talked to some folks about that.
Wonderful. Judge, we're going to take a quick break, come back. We're going to talk about some of the things that, methamphetamine's back on the run. It looks like we're looking at drug task force finding these places around Covington County again, and it seems to be a drug of choice. Also, the drug cartel is getting further involved in that methamphetamine with ICE and things like that. Are you seeing that in your courts and things?
Not that I know of. I mean, it could very well be, but I mean, I haven't had anything come up there to me to talk about this as a cartel, whatever.
Right.
It may be, and I just don't know that part of it, but so we'll deal with that if it comes.
We'll be right back with Judge Short. Proud to have you in here. And
Glad
how
to
do you
be
like
here.
that shot when we go out there to
I think
the
it's great.
courthouse?
My wife this morning said, "Well, that's a great shot of the courthouse." We had the TV on, and so it looks
Well,
very nice.
And
very nice.
we're going to have that camera up there. Now, see, you have no jurisdiction on the roof.
You might be surprised. But you know, I do have the blinds on the
Yeah,
inside.
I was going to
so-
sit there, give the bailiff a little change there to go
That's
get
right,
coffee. And
that's right.
Sneak in on you once in a while. But one day, maybe we'll get
It's
cameras in the
possible.
courtroom.
It might happen one day.
It's always been a thorn with me and him on that. But anyway, Judge, thank you. We'll be right back with more. Remember, keep it real. Keep God in it. This is Eddie with Judge Short here, live on the square in Andalusia. Welcome back to WKNI TV 25. Good news on the square with Judge Short. Judge, it's been an honor to have you in here today talking about these things and letting our viewers know that there is a problem out there, and you guys are doing the best you can. Judge McCatherine, Judge McGuire, and yourself are doing what you can. There's 3 judges in this community, and you cover a vast amount of everything.
Yeah.
And just, you know, the ongoing crimes that are going on, the economy. Now, I know the economy plays a lot with crime.
It does.
And we've been blessed in this community.
We really have. Really, you know, the mayor, whoever, I mean, the city and the county-wide, we suffered in the economy, but not to the extent that a lot of communities did.
No, we didn't.
And it's great.
I mean, it was kind of like we were in. There's a new movie on or new show on weekly, a sitcom called The Dome.
Yeah, I've heard of that. It was. I don't know really what to attribute that to. Except,
Yeah, it's like we're in a
good
dome.
Good
in
folks.
Covington County.
It's really a great place to live.
Well,
It is
we've got great
unbelievable.
leadership. We've got great sheriff over there doing his job. We've got mayor, county commissioners. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And
I agree.
That's including OP. That's including Florella. I'm not just holding
Right.
out.
It's a
the
great
local
county
thing.
to live in.
Yeah.
You know, when I was deciding what to do in life, my main goal was to find something I could do to make a living and move back to Andalusia, because I knew that's where I wanted to raise my family and raise my children and live the rest of my life. And so
Well,
and I say Andalusia, but this Covington County, you know.
That's what happened to us. Our kids were in school, and we were from Florida, and I wanted someplace. We had gangs in the schools where my
Right.
kids were going,
Right.
and we raised our kids on a tight road.
Right.
And when we started seeing the changes happening, we looked for a place that would be safe for the children first, and that was, of course, here.
Right.
And my daughter, well, we moved to Butler County first, but my daughter graduated in a class of 12 at a Mackenzie.
Right.
And My son came out of Andalusia High School, and you know, there's no way to describe it while you're living it, I guess.
Right.
And when you get used to it, I go to Florida and I go to Tampa or Orlando, my stomping grounds, and I'm like,
Yeah.
get me back to Andalusia, because it's not the same. It's crazy.
Well, if you don't go other places, you know, you get used to the way it is here, and I guess we naturally assume it's that way everywhere, but it's not. And one of the things that our city has done a great job on, and I know OP is making some efforts to do that as well, is fix up the town.
Yes.
Clean up, fix up, spruce up, tear down, that kind of thing. Really, except for maybe one or two little spots, from McDonald's to Winn-Dixie's, a pretty nice impression on somebody that drives through town. And if you go to the high school and see all the building that's going on there, the new middle school that's going to be put there,
Isn't
junior
that
high,
amazing?
The indoor practice facility, which Troy doesn't have one. A lot of people don't have that in colleges, and that kind of thing. But anyway, we have a lot to offer. And like this weekend, we're hosting the World Series, the Babe Ruth, I believe it is. And,
Are you hosting any families?
I am not. I still have.
Usually you do.
Yeah, I still have so many children of my own hanging around. I don't have room for the ones I've got, much less any others. But anyway, so it's a great place. I really enjoy
Well, we
living
got
here.
the governor coming into town today.
He
You going
is.
to stop by and see him?
I understand he may swing by the courthouse. Somebody told us yesterday, and I know he's touring Henderson Sewing Machine and
Yes.
going to be at LBW, checking out the new dorm rooms.
Isn't
and
that
also,
neat?
Yeah.
I mean, Dr. Rydell.
Yes.
Okay, is again leadership.
Sure.
Okay, back into the community, and Dr. Rydell had the foresight. The foundation had the foresight. 96 students that otherwise would be looking for. There's no place to
That's
rent
right.
in this community.
That's right. Well, that is really going to be a boon to that junior college. You know, there's nothing like on-campus facilities for kids to live in. You know, you have to have those things if you really want your school to grow. And I predict that'll be that LBW will take off more so than it ever has with that availability.
I always call that a gem
Yeah,
of our community.
sure it is.
Because
So many people have, you know, even if you're going off to a four-year institution, or even if you're not, get an associate's degree, they offer a lot of things that you
Right.
can get right here and never have to go anywhere. But if you're going, you can get so many of your courses right here. It save a lot of money, live at home, work, and when you get off to Auburn or Alabama, wherever you go, and you've got basically your
University
sophomore,
of Florida.
Yeah, Florida, wherever you want to go. You've got your freshman and sophomore years out of the way. And you talk about saving tens of thousands of dollars that you would have had to spend that you don't by getting a good education here.
Well, we have that opportunity, and what that also brings is technology into the community
That's
as
right.
well. Because you got people that go through the schools here, and they go, you know what? They go elsewhere and finish out their education. They come back, they want, like you did, you want to find a place and come
Right.
home, and you may build something, and that's a lot. We had somebody come through here. This is a great thing about being on the square this past weekend from Missouri. And they stopped, and they were looking for a place to get a cup of coffee. They were looking for Sugar Rush, or somebody had told them about Sugar Rush, and it used to be next door. And we have a coffee pot on here all the time. And I said, oh, just come on in and get a cup of coffee. You know?
Right.
And they were like, really? And I said, yeah, come on
Right.
in. You know, we're not doing anything but, you know, setting up some computers and stuff. And they came in, and they said, you know, this is one of the cleanest southern towns we've ever been in. And it looks like it's alive.
Right.
And then to have you invite us into the, you know, TV station to have coffee, they were just blown away.
Well, I've always been a big believer in first impressions or
Mhm.
lasting impressions. You know, you don't ever get a second chance to make a first impression. And that's why I mentioned driving through, because that's the main drag, so to speak, through
Right.
town. And if you drive through a place that looks like a dump, you'll think of that place as a dump the rest of your life,
And
probably.
you avoid it.
Yeah.
You go around it.
That's
You'll
right.
take the bypass instead of going through.
True.
You know, they stood out here at the murals,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I see more people out here taking pictures of murals. Yesterday, there was a young couple that was walking around to the buildings
Mm-hmm.
and just taking pictures in front of the buildings.
See, that's another thing. If you see something every day, you don't even see it.
Right.
And living here, it just kind of, it's there, and I would venture to guess there's a lot of people in town that never walked around and looked at every one of them, even though you're here every day of your life for the past however many years they've been up. But if you come to town, it's something that catches your eye. So there's a lot of things about Andalusia that we don't see because we see them all the time. It's just,
I got to tell you something real quick before we leave.
all right.
All right. Right there where that news set is,
Mm-hmm.
where you saw me doing the newscast, do you know what is buried there?
Yes, I do. But I can't think what it is. I heard you say it the other day.
Yeah, Destinado, the Andalusian horse.
Yeah.
Okay, that chief Red Eagle from the tribe that was here back in the 1700s.
Right.
And yeah, we there's some plumbing going on when we're doing the bathroom setup and
Right.
all, and bones were found. And then we
I would have told that you might not have been able to do anything here once they discovered there were some bones there. You sure it was a horse?
Yeah, they're horse.
An Andalusian, the Spanish Andalusian horses.
We're sent off for DNA, and because there's a lot of contention with some folks around here, that's a sore subject.
Okay.
But James Presswood, when he built this building, he also wrote a book called The Legend of Andalusia.
Really?
And he meant a step by step, a drawing of the building. And if you look at the front of the building, you'll see that it's offset several feet to one side.
Okay.
So that this door was not over the top of Destinado.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
So
I remember Mr. Presswood. I never have read the book. I would like to, though.
yeah, it's at the library.
Yeah, okay.
And or you can get it at the the museum. There we go.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Someday I'll be in a museum.
Yeah. Won't we all?
But Judge, you're doing a fantastic job over there. You're going to start seeing us more
Yeah,
over in
sure.
the courtroom. We kind of had to hold back because it's just me and Teresa, so you know how that works.
Right. I do.
But we've got some help coming in next few weeks, and I'm going to be coming up there to the courtrooms and sitting down like I used to.
Well, good.
So
Now, this great thing y'all do is, it's nice to have coverage of things, radio,
Right.
television, newspaper, for people to know what's going on in the community. So I
well, we've
applaud your
got some
efforts.
good opportunities in this community to get the word out right.
Good.
And the positive things need to be brought out.
Right.
And there's enough everyday negative things out there. We don't
Right.
have to highlight that. We need to.
I heard a saying the other day that bad news rides a fast horse. So you don't really have to tell a lot of bad news. It gets around quick.
Destinado, we're not going to ride.
That's right. That's right. Bad news rides the fastest horse.
But Judge, appreciate you. I know I ask everybody this when they're here. Is there anything you want to tell anybody out there about you, about the criminals, crime, judging, or I mean, you're also a local celebrity hero type thing for football back in the day.
I don't know about that. We are having the old timers game tonight, the alumni game.
When is that?
It's tonight.
No way.
It was supposed to
Where?
be last Thursday night up at the high school. It was supposed to be last Thursday night, and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, every year, old guys like me that played at Andalusia, either last year or 40 years ago, get together and we have a 7-on-7 game against the current football team. And we do it, to help raise money. People buy tickets,
Right.
but the band will be there, the cheerleaders, alumni
What
cheerleaders.
time's that? Nobody bothered to tell me.
It's in the newspaper. But anyway,
But,
6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Now, I want to invite anybody that's played at Andalusia High School to come out. Even if you can't even hardly walk like me, you're welcome to come out there and pay you $20 and get you an alumni football T-shirt and hang around and tell stories and lies with the rest of us, and we'll let the younger guys do the playing. But we have a good time, and they introduced both the junior high team and the varsity team and the cheerleaders, and then we have alumni cheerleaders come back, and the band will be there. So it's a lot of fun, but it mainly just helps.
I feel like
get
I've
some
been
funds.
sucked into a black hole where I'm not.
I came here to tell you and invite you. So.
Well, we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll
by
be there,
golly,
be
as
there.
long as the weather's right.
Yeah,
so.
well, that's true. Of course, I told them, I said, we could play it inside since we have an indoor
Isn't
field.
that? We could go another 20 minutes on that. Isn't
Hey,
that
let me
fabulous?
tell you something. If you haven't been to Andalusia High School and seen that indoor practice facility,
I was there at the ribbon cutting.
it is unbelievable. Brand new weight room, your locker rooms, coach's offices, conference room, laundry facility, but a 60-yard indoor practice field that.
There's just no place to sit. Though.
And you say, you spent all that money for football. The band has used it. They use it every day at school at PE. Soccer uses it. Everybody uses it. I mean, it's unlimited. Is what it's being used for.
People criticize sometimes what we do, like things like that, and they'll say, that's a waste of money. But I want to just take a second, and I can't think of them all because I don't know them all, but you've got Robert Horry, okay? You've got, obviously, the young man.
Nico Johnson.
Nico, that's currently with Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
You've got other people that have gone through the systems here and have become professional, athletes. And that in itself says a lot about our sporting program.
Right.
Coach Robertson, I mean, He was probably coaching when you were back
Oh, yeah,
there.
absolutely. Coach
Yeah.
Robertson was my junior high football coach and also helped on the varsity when I was playing. And he was there before I got there. So
Well, I asked him for a scraping to get a carbon date test on him.
he's been with the Andalusia school system and some of those, Woodson and some of those that got absorbed in the Andalusia school system back before integration. And he's 50 years or more, I would think, right at it. But he's an institution around here. We all love Coach Robertson.
Man,
He helped raise lots of us.
Well, and he's still raising them.
Sure he is.
And boy, I'll tell
Sure
you,
he is.
he's the one I wouldn't want to cross even
Yeah.
today.
He's a fine man in my
he
opinion.
Sure is. He really is.
Sure is.
We've got a lot of assets in this community, and that's what we need to focus on, need to share with other people.
Right. That's right.
And we appreciate you sharing today with
Yeah.
us. Thanks for coming on.
Glad to be here. Thank you
Judge
very much.
Short, God bless you. God bless your family.
Thank you.
Tell your dad I said
I
hey.
will. I will.
And folks, that's it. Good news right here on WKNI Live on the Square. And just watch us today at 12 noon live, and we'll be here then. Have a blessed day. Remember, keep it real, keep God in it. This is Eddie Lewis with Judge Short.